Hello. Welcome back to my new YouTube video. I'm Charlotte. If you're new here, hi. I post a bunch of bookish content, lifestyle content, all the content, and I'm so glad you found your way in my little reading nook here. So welcome. If you're new, obviously subscribe, and if you're old, big hug. Okay, so I thought we would do a little my most anticipated reads for the rest of 2026. We've had some amazing releases so far in 2026, and I thought I would do a little bit of the books I'm kind of looking forward to that are still going to be released. There are so many books that I actually might have to do a part 2 to this video, but I thought I'd like gather the ones I can think of at like the top of my head right now, and we can go through them together, and maybe you can add some to your TBR, and then maybe you can comment some down below so that I can add some to my TBR, because I think that would be fun. Okay, without further ado, let's get started. The first book I have is actually a book that I received an advanced reader copies to, so I actually already have the physical, oh, that was a cat hair, the physical book to this, so thank you to the publisher for that. And that is the Missed Connection by Tia Williams. Now, if Tia Williams writes it, I'm gonna read it. But this book basically follows a woman who meets what she thinks like the love of her life on a flight, and she never gets his last name. Big oops. And then she hires a private investigator to track him down and finds herself in a little bit of a love triangle. This is kind of what I've gathered from the back of the book. Now, I hate a love triangle with a burning passion, but if Tia Williams writes it, I'm gonna read it. So we're gonna read this book, and we're gonna hope that I don't hate the love triangle, but I'm so excited to read it. And I usually, with advanced reader copies, I try to read them like a week before they get released. So like 2 weeks before they get released, so that my review is out a week before the book actually comes out. So I'm so excited to read this book. This book does release on June 9th in the United States. I don't know when it releases in the UK, but it definitely releases on June 9th in the US. Next book I have is also one I have an ARC for. Again, I went to the Barnes Noble ARC thingy where you ArcFest, whatever it's called, and had the worst experience ever, but I went there and I got most of these ARCs there, so if I have a bunch of ARCs, that's why. The next book I have, I'm not cool enough to get ARCs sent to me yet. Maybe one day. The next book I have is In Stormy Weather by Chelsea Curto. I'm really bad with her last name, but this is like an academic rivals to lovers kind of thing, and it's giving Twister. So I think they're both storm chasers, and I think they end up chasing the same storm together, and that's kind of how their story starts, I'm assuming. I am so excited for this book. Like, I am so excited. Like, I saw this woman at BookCon and nearly passed out. So excited. Now, In Stormy Weather releases July 16th in the US. Now, the next book I have releases, I can't pronounce that word. The next book I have releases June 16th, and that is Trope by Lauren Okie. Guys, I'm so excited. I have seen so many people raving about this book, and I'm so excited. This follows a ghostwriter who, she's a ghostwriter to like this really famous novelist, and she finds herself kind of like living out all these, like in a love story where she's living out all these tropes, and I am so excited. Like, I'm a trope girly. Like, I love a good trope, and all these tropes, they be looking good, so I cannot wait to read this book. So excited. The next book I have releases October 6th, and that is Bad Words. I actually got this at BookCon, and this is by Rioghnach, and this follows a writer whose career gets torpedoed after one really bad review, and then he finds himself, I think, in like meeting the bad reviewer of his work, and it kind of goes from there. I am so excited for this. Everybody I know who reviews books for a living has told me like I need to read this like right now. I am so excited for this. The cover is stunning. I'm pretty sure this is the final cover, even if this is an advanced reader copy. I think this is the final cover, but I'm so excited. I also think you can get this on NetGalley, so if you do want an advanced reader copy, you can check out NetGalley for this. Now, the next book released June 30th, I had to check, and this is actually one that I was so surprised, because this is by Elle Kennedy. I did not know that Elle Kennedy writes under her like pseudonym, I guess, E. Kennedy. Well, she has a lot of pen names. I think she also writes under Aaron Watt with one of her friends, but she writes under E. Kennedy for like, I think, YA thrillers. And this is called I have hair in my mouth. Thornbird. Guys, I literally have cat hair in my mouth. Ew. And this follows a young girl that returns back to her small hometown in Tennessee after her dad gets arrested for being a serial killer. And I think she keeps receiving like threats even though she's basically in hiding, and she also gets a letter from her dad herself. So I am so excited. If you know me, you know that I love romance, romantasy, and I love a good crime. I love a good crime and thriller book, so I am so excited to read this. Like I'm like chomping at the bit for this. I love YA thrime. I think thrime is a new word we should invent. It's crime and thriller, but I love a good YA thriller. Like I think they're amazing. So I'm really, really excited for this one. Now, this is the last one I have in physical form, and that is The Last Time We Drowned by Saratoga Schaefer. Guys, I'm so excited for this. This is also a thriller. We have, I think, a bookstagrammer who's locked on a yacht with a bunch of like luxury, I think, influencers, and someone dies and then they get stuck in a storm and they find out that there's a killer on board. I am so excited. Like I literally cannot wait. This sounds like the perfect book for me. So I am so excited to just kind of like sit on a beach somewhere and read this. I have no plans of going to a beach this year, but I will figure that out. And this releases June 2nd, so pretty soon. So I'm very, very excited. The next book I have is Lost and Found, which releases October 6th, and that is by Tarah DeWitt. Now this book follows a girl who I think has her best friend's eggs and uses, like, her best friend I think passes away, and so her best friend's whole goal was, I think, to have kids. So the best friend kind of uses her deceased best friend's eggs to have kids. This is how I understood this. And then she meets a firefighter. So if you've read any other Tarah DeWitt books in the it's not Lost and Found series, but it's one of her series, then this follows one of their brothers. I think it's Silas, and I'm so excited. Like I literally cannot wait. The next book I have is Embrace by Khabra. Now I also saw this woman at BookCon and I didn't realize that it was her, and I said, okay, model, because she had really long legs, and she was like, thanks, girly. And I was like, you're famous. I realized that too late. But this follows a NHL bound hockey player who I think drops out of college. I don't know if he does, but this is part of her series. I think it's the last book in the Collide series. I don't know if that's actually the name of the series, but Collide was definitely the first book, but this is the last book, and I think he drops out of college, and then the girl he has to study with is his coach's daughter. I am so excited for this book because I loved every single book in that series. Like, I loved them. The book I have is The Romance Revival by Christina Lauren. Now, I think this is like a sciencey book, so I think it's like STEM, but I think it has the amnesia trope, which I usually hate, but I'm willing for Christina Lauren. And I think they forget that they're married, and then they like have to fall back in love with each other. That's kind of what I think this book is about, but I'm not completely sure. I heard someone talk about it at BookCon, and I was like, added to the TBR. I don't even have to look anything up. It's added to the TBR. Okay, the next book I have is one of my most anticipated releases ever. It's by Krista, Becca, Ritchie. You already know it. And this releases August 4th, 2026, and that is Silver Sweet. Now, this book is the second book in the Burn Bright series, which is a spin-off series of their Addicted / Callaway Sister series, and a different spin-off series to their Like Us series. And it is a MM rockstar romance. So we have a really, really talented musician and who's very type A and a very type B drummer who derails type A's whole life, I guess. And they have to kind of work together so they don't lose their label contracts. And I am so incredibly excited for this book. Like, Krista and Becca Ritchie are keeping us fed this year. Their The Webs We Weave series has wrapped up in May, and I'm just so excited. I think it actually, by the time this video is out, that last book should be out as well. Again, in that series, we have the third book in the Burn Bright series, which follows, I think, the youngest Cobalt, Aubrey. Yeah, it follows Aubrey, and it is called Loathed to Love. And this is kind of how I understood that this book is kind of like gonna look like. I think the exact date is going to be announced sometime in November. I want to say it's like the 16th of November, but I'm unsure on that. But she goes to college and then gets tangled up between like this academic boy that she thinks she should be into, and then I'm pretty sure the brother of the MMC in the book before that. So I think in Silver Sweet, the MMC, one of the MMCs, I think his brother is going to be the MMC in this book, and I think he's like a tortured musician, and I'm very excited for this book. very excited. I'm just so excited like Krista and Becca Ritchie are writing the series, and that we potentially might get Elliot and Becca and Charlie's book. So I'm just very excited. If you know, you know. Okay. And then the last book that I added just recently, because it just recently got announced, is Bad Idea by Elle Kennedy. Now this is, I think, the new book in the Off-Campus series? No, in the Briar U series, because Off-Campus obviously is turning into a TV show, or is a TV show, but this is in the Briar U series, which is a spin-off of the Off-Campus series. And guys, I read it when they were first being released, so I'm so excited to go back to this universe. I have no idea what this book is about. I just know that I think pretty sure it follows some De Laurentiis person, Iris De Laurentiis and Jake Conley, I think. I'm really unsure. I should probably look that up, but I'm so excited to like kind of go back to this universe, and I'm just so excited for all these books to come out. And like I said, this is like part 1. I have so many other books. These were not organized by date at all. These were just kind of like by the severity level that I want to read them. So I am absolutely so excited. If you have any more books to add to this list, please let me know. I would love to know and just have some more authors that are, yeah, new favorites of mine. So let me know, and I hope to see you guys very soon in my next YouTube video. Let me know what kind of more bookish, like face-to-face videos you want, because I love filming vlogs, but I don't know if everybody loves watching vlogs. So let me know if you have any more recommendations for me when it comes to videos and also books. I'll see you guys very soon in my next YouTube video. Bye.